Hi everyone, it's Keely here for Soy and Shea, and thank you so much for joining me for today's video, which is one of the Patreon design challenges. For this month, I asked my patrons to list 3 elements that they wanted to see me use in a soap. I put all the suggestions into a soapy jug, and the one that came out was from Megan Gascoigne, who was also the winner of last month's soap design challenge. For this month, she wanted to see me use a lemon myrtle scent with some lemon myrtle leaves and a bright yellow color. Now, my mum has a beautiful big lemon myrtle tree in her yard, so I asked her to bring me in a couple of bags full of lemon myrtle leaves. So we've got those, and the other day when I was around there for dinner, I grabbed a couple of branches off there and I took them home, and I have dried these leaves in the dehydrator, and I'm going to put these through my mixer or through my NutriBullet, and I'm going to crush them down to a fine powder, which we're going to add into the soap. But before I do that, what I need to do is go and wash these leaves, because they've got little bits of cobwebs and that sort of stuff on them. I'm then going to sort through them, pop them into the still, and the first thing we're going to make is a lemon myrtle hydrosol, and that's going to create the water, or the water component of my lye solution. So let's get on to washing these leaves. Alright, so our first bag of leaves have been washed, but I do need to pick through them and find the ones that I really want out of here. So I'm looking for these sort of bright green young leaves which are still quite soft, and they're going to have lots of essential oil in them. But then any that I find which have gone really curly, maybe have got brown tips, they're not going to get included in the still because they've got no sort of essential oils left in them, or very little, so it's pointless taking up space in there. I'm also going to strip them off all of these twigs, because again, there's nothing in those twigs or in the branches, so we're not going to put them in the still. So I'll go through them, pick them off, and as I do, I'll be popping them into my copper alembic column still. That is a mouthful. Now, this still I've had from off of Alembics New Zealand, and I'll leave links in the description box below. I have done another video with this, which I'll leave links to up in the top right hand corner. I did decide to go for a column still when I picked mine, because you can do both a hydro and a steam distillation in this one, whereas if you don't get the column, you can't do that steam distillation, and you need different distillation styles according to what you are actually distilling to get the most out of the plants. Now, for our lemon myrtle leaves, to get the most essential oil out of them, which is one of the things I want out of this hydrosol, we need to do a steam distillation. So what I'm going to do is, as I pick through my leaves and decide which ones I want, let's pull this apart. I'm going to put all of my leaves into this top bit. If I've got any leftover leaves, I will pop them into the bottom bit as well, because there's no point wasting them. Once I have got my column filled with leaves, we're going to put some water in here, and then we're going to go and put it onto heat, and we're going to watch as that hydrosol forms. Alright, let me get onto it. So after turning the hot plate on, I have left this to come up to temperature, which we're now at. We're at 100 degrees up there, which means in the bottom our water is boiling, producing steam, which is coming up through the column, and as it filters through all those leaves, it's picking up the essential oils and other nutrients, and then it passes through our onion and into our copper pipe up here before traveling down into our condenser, which is a big coil of copper all the way through to the bottom here. In our sink we've got some cold water and a simple pump from a fish pond, and it's pushing cold water up through the pipe into the bottom of our condenser, and in the top here we've got a hole which allows the warm water from the steam actually heating it up pushes back out, and that's what's dribbling over there. So I'm constantly circulating this water to keep it cool, and then as that steam travels down our coil, it turns back into water and it spits it out down here. So this is our hydrosol. If I didn't have any botanicals in here, this would actually be distilled water that it's spitting out down here. You can see we have got a fair amount of essential oil on here, and then you can see it has been going for about 20 minutes now since it heated up, and we've got a fair collection, and you can see all that essential oil, that yellow sort of look floating on the top. That is the essential oil that we're getting out of it. So at the moment this room has a really bright, fresh, clean smell of that lemon myrtle, so I know I'm getting all those oils coming out of those leaves. I'm going to leave this one sit for about an hour, hour and a half, and I'll start to notice a real change in the smell that's in this room. It will kind of become a little bit more bitter and it will lose that freshness, and that's when I know I need to turn this off and stop distilling. So it'll take about an hour to an hour and a half, and then whatever we've got in this jar at the end, that is going to make up some of our water component for the lye solution. So it's been about an hour and a half since I last brought you in to check on the hydrosol. I've been keeping an eye on it, and I have just noticed that really bright, fresh, vibrant smell that lemon myrtle has started to really dissipate. So that means we're at the end of the distillation process. So what I'm going to do now is turn that off. You can see we have a fair amount of hydrosol in there. It's almost up to the top of the funnel there. And you can see all that beautiful essential oil sitting on the top, and we've still got a bit more in the top there to float through. Once this is finished dripping, I know that all the steam has traveled through all the pipe work here. I will then turn off that pump and I'll give you a better look at this hydrosol. Okay, so we are ready to get going with this soap. Now I ended up with about 350 grams worth of hydrosol, and this isn't all of it here. If I was to add my sodium hydroxide directly into this hydrosol, it would burn the essential oils that are in here and turn this into a brown color. So what I've done is I have made a almost 1-for-1 sodium hydroxide and water solution. I usually use just a little bit more water than a 1-for-1, and then I have the remaining portion of my liquid of this hydrosol in here, and I'll pour this directly into my oils, stir it up before adding in the sodium hydroxide, and that will just stop it from scorching. Now those dry leaves that I had, I put them through my NutriBullet and I've got them into a nice fine powder, and I have a little essential oil blend here. Now it would have been too expensive just to use straight up lemon myrtle oil. Each bar would have cost me almost $4 each. So I've made myself up a little blend which has a bit of bergamot, a little bit of Litseca in there as well, just to make sure that this all holds in the blend. So I've got that going. What I'm going to do with this is make it a bit of a layered soap. I have got some dark yellow mica in this jug. I'm going to do a dark yellow base on this one, and then my main portion is going to be done in Wellington mica with this green leaf speckled through it. So hopefully it will give it a little bit more of a different look. So let's get on to making it. Most of this is going to be set to music. So there it is, lemon myrtle is in the mold. I love the top on this. That extra little sort of spoon dip, that was something I learned off of Lee over at Wicked Lee Goods, and I love how it looks like there's little leaves sticking up over the top of each of those crests there. I'm going to keep this one really simple despite all the work that has already gone into it, because I think the inside is just going to be beautiful, simple, and it's going to be all about the ingredients of this soap. I'm going to leave it sit overnight. We'll be back in just a moment and we'll cut it open. Okay, we're back to cut into the lemon myrtle soap, and it smells absolutely amazing. It's just so fresh, bright and clean. So let's get this one all lined up on the cutter. It is going to be very simple on the inside, but it's going to be such a beautiful bar to use. Through we go. Oh, my end's fallen off, so let's go from there, and that is it. Now you can see a little bit of discoloring around the outside, which is very interesting because I didn't think essential oils tended to discolor. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this soap bar over time, but I am absolutely loving the color. Now I know she wanted bright yellow, and we've only really got the bright yellow across the top, but I think because of all those leaves that I put in here, that is why it's gone that sort of green color. But oh, look at that great big piece of yellow in there. But I'm really pleased with how it's come up, and I think those leaves are just going to be such a beautiful gentle exfoliation in there. That yellow had started to thicken up when I poured it into the big tub, which is probably why we've got blobs of yellow rather than nice swirls throughout the soap. Let's have a look down here and see if we've got, no, we've still got blobs of yellow, but I'm really pleased with it. It smells absolutely amazing. So I'm really looking forward to this. I'm pretty sure my husband's going to want to snag a bar of this because it's his sort of smell. So I hope you've enjoyed watching the process of how I've made my lemon myrtle soap. If you did, why not leave me a thumbs up and any comments down below. And until the next video comes out, I hope you have a great one, and I'll see you then. Bye.